Welcome to the Thrive Mindset Podcast, where manifesting your dreams isn't magic, it's momentum. I'm your host, Carrie Dahle, entrepreneur, author, and manifestation coach, and I'm here to help you stop holding yourself back and start building the life you've been craving. Each week, I'll share real stories, practical tools, and powerful mindset shifts to help you reframe the negative, embrace gratitude, and take aligned action toward your goals. If you're ready to up-level your life, your relationships, your success, then this is your place. Let's dive in. Hey there, welcome back to the Thrive Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Carrie Dahle, and today we're going to dive into my absolute favorite year-end rituals. Something that's shaped my goals, my growth, and honestly, my entire identity every single year. We're talking about discovering your word of the year, redefining your dreams that you're manifesting, and creating simple, aligned actions that actually bring those dreams to life. So if you're feeling a little overwhelmed, maybe a little excited, a little unsure about what next year is going to look like, just breathe. You're in the right place. We're going to walk through this together. So let's start with the word of the year, because for me, choosing the word is like choosing the energy that I'm going to carry into everything I touch, because your word isn't a resolution. In fact, I hate resolutions. I hate them so much. I think that when people set resolutions, they are just immediately setting themselves up for failure. When I hear the word resolution, I hear a goal that I'm going to forget about in 2 weeks. Instead, I like to choose a word, right? I like to choose something that is my North Star. Not just a cute Instagram graphic, but something that's set with intention that anchors my choices, right? That shapes my habits and helps realign when life gets loud. And let's be real, life always gets loud. So think of your word as your personal compass. It's the energy that your future self is already living in. You're simply choosing to join her in that world. Okay, so how do you find your word? Let's break this down into a process that's actually powerful. Start with feeling, not doing. Ask yourself, what do I want my life to feel like this year? Not what you want to accomplish, but what do you want to feel? Do you want peace? Do you want expansion? Do you want strength, boldness, ease? Your word starts with a feeling. And then think about, who are you becoming? Your future self isn't a mystery. She's been sending you hints all year long. In your excitement, your discomfort, your goals, your frustrations, those are the hints, right? What version of you have you been trying to step into? Think about that. Think about the things you've been doing, the ways that you've been shaping yourself into the new you. And notice the things you've been craving more of or maybe less of. Maybe you're craving clarity or courage or fun. Maybe you're craving boundaries and structure. Or maybe you're craving more abundance and joy. Pay attention to the word that scares you a little. That's a big one, right? You should be challenged by your word. You should be pushed a little. It shouldn't just be a word that um, that doesn't make you want to do more. It shouldn't be a word that keeps you stagnant. In fact, in my Dreams to Reality group, we were just meeting this last weekend, and I was so proud of one of the gals because I don't even remember, because this is how unimportant the initial word she thought of was. But whatever that word was, it clearly was just a status quo word. It didn't elevate her. It just kept her stagnant. And instead, she chose a word that was so beautiful and it really brought her up the next notch. In fact, her word is author. It didn't mean just writing a book, it meant her being the author of her life and the author of everything in her world. And I thought that was so great. And mine, for me, mine is actually elevate. And it's elevate everything, right? It's elevate this podcast. It's elevate my real estate business. It's elevate the people around me. It's elevate my health. It's elevate my family. It's everything. Everything I want to do, I want to elevate. I want to rise above. I want to soar. I want to do more. So choose a word that supports all of your goals. Your word should reinforce your lifestyle, your relationships, your business, your health, your dreams, all 10 of the things you write in your manifestation journal. That's what Elevate does for me. That's what Author did for this gal. This isn't a word for one area of your life. This is a word for your entire identity. So brainstorm 10 to 15 words and circle your top 3. And then choose one that pulls you forward. And then here's the most important part that people seem to skip. You don't just choose a word. You become it. You embody your word. This means asking yourself, how will I embody this word in my morning routine? How will I speak to myself through this word? How will it guide my choices when I'm stressed? How will it influence my relationships, my work, my energy? Your word isn't meant to sit on a page. It's meant to live in your body. If your word is expand, where do you feel it called to stretch instead of shrink? If your word is balance, where do you need boundaries? If your word is courage, where are you still playing small in life? This is where your identity shifts begin, not in the big moments, but in these ordinary ones. All right, take the time. If you haven't done it already, take the time and really find your word. And if you think you have your word, make sure that you can align it with all the things you're manifesting and make sure that it really does feel good and that you can truly embody it this year, because you need to be able to carry it beyond just a day, a week, a month. It needs to expand through the entire year for you. I promise you, Elevate will do that for me this year. I'm pretty sure that Author will do it for this gal. I think that the other ones that I've heard for other people that I know people have chosen are going to do it for them. And I wanted to do it for you too. This episode of the Thrive Mindset podcast is brought to you by the Scott Lewis Group at John L. Scott Real Estate. Buying or selling a home is more than just a transaction. It's your move. It's your next chapter. And we're here to make sure that your move is remarkable. We know this market inside and out, and we care deeply about helping you find more than just a house. We want you to find the place where your life truly thrives. Whether you're stepping into your first home, upgrading to something new, or starting something fresh, you deserve more than ordinary. With the Scott Lewis Group, it's your move. Let's make it remarkable. And then the next thing I really, really want you to do, and I think is a huge step for moving into the new year, is making sure you redefine your big 10 manifestations. I know we've talked about this before, but every day I write down 10 things that I'm manifesting for the year. I think it's important to start out your new year not as a resolution, but as your manifestations, that you really are clear on what it is you're doing this year, because we are always manifesting, right? We're not making resolutions. We're manifesting things in our lives. And you need to be clear on what those are. And if they have changed, because you probably have manifested things from last year, if not all of them, a big portion of them. So make sure you're redefining what you're doing in 2026, right? Every single year, you need to be honest with the season that you're in. Your dreams get to evolve. You get to choose again and realign. And here's the truth. The dreams you wrote down months ago may not fit anymore. Why? Because they may have already happened, but also the old version of you is not the same version of you today. So grab your journal and ask yourself, which manifestations still feel aligned? These are the ones that still spark excitement and purpose. And which goals came from old me energy? These are the ones that feel heavy, forced, or irrelevant. And then what dreams feel more possible now? Because yes, you've grown, so your capacity has grown, which maybe means that maybe you had a work goal and maybe it was a certain number of things you're going to accomplish or sell or do. And maybe you accomplished that, or maybe you got close to it, but maybe that number needs to grow, right? Or what dreams feel bigger? And am I willing to claim them? And if that makes your heart race, keep it. But if it's not quite big enough, maybe make it bigger. Remember before we talked about the 10x factor. I feel like we need to up the game in many of our manifestations. And I think you all should be doing that too. But the point here is not to judge what you did or didn't accomplish. In fact, you should be really proud of whatever you did this last year because you have evolved, you have grown, you have changed. But the point here is to refine your vision so that it matches the woman you're becoming, not the woman you were. The next thing I want you to remember is why your action matters and not in the way you think. Because manifestation isn't passive, but action doesn't have to be overwhelming. We're not talking about hustle and grind and sacrifice your soul energy. What I'm talking about is aligned action, which is intentional and simple and doable and meaningful. And most importantly, aligned action is something your future self would do. So you don't need 100 steps. You need one step per dream, one step that proves you believe in this outcome. And no, that one step isn't going to get you to that dream. But what I want you to do this month is I want you to make progress forward. So I want you to take each of the 10 things you're manifesting, and I want you to choose one simple action, one thing that you can do to move yourself forward. And maybe some of these 10 things, you're going to actually take actions every day. So maybe like if you're manifesting a health goal, you may actually take actions every single day. But if your goal is travel, maybe that action is going to be researching trips. So that action may be one simple 1 day step. Or if your action is to write a book, maybe that step is to outline the book. But I want you to look at the 10 things you're manifesting and come up with a plan and come up with one thing that you can do to move yourself forward. It's not that hard. Not that hard at all. But action is what's going to move you forward. And come up with something that can create movement and give you just movement towards your dreams. Because action is what's going to get you there. And when you create an aligned action plan and you make it practical, well, that's when your dreams actually become reality. And I just want you to remember that these actions, they don't need to be perfect. They just need to create momentum. And when momentum starts rolling, your energy shifts, your confidence grows, and your manifestations speed up. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't think that every step has to be perfect. Just take one aligned action in the next 30 days. Just one. So here's your challenge this week. Choose your word, redefine your Big 10, and pick one aligned action for each dream. That's it. 3 steps that will completely change the trajectory of your year. I think you need to remember that resolutions are not the way to become who you're becoming. The new year is just a fresh start. It's a way for you to align, to reset yourself, and to start fresh. So thank you for joining me today on the Thrive Mindset podcast. If this episode inspired you, share it with a friend, send me a message with your word of the year. I love hearing what you're stepping into. And until next time, remember that I believe in you and that you can manifest the life of your dreams.